session where Professor Olatunji Adejumo just won 2 prestigious awards, and I wanted to start by thanking you for all the work you've done over the years.
Thank you.
And give you my greatest congratulations.
Thanks.
I wanted to take this moment to give you some space to introduce yourself and also speak about your work. I should also mention that one of the awards that was awarded to you today is one of its kind. It is the first one that recognizes somebody who has done incredible work on the African continent in landscape architecture, and this is where we can see over here. And would you please tell us how it feels, first of all, to have this such recognition?
Thank you. Of course, I feel great. I feel great because you, in life, you put in for a profession, and you dream of finishing strong, and finishing well. And to me, this is just a cap, not because of this cap. It's a cap on the efforts, and it's been some years. Some of us, I don't want to say unlike you guys who are from the West, we stray, let me use the word, we stray to some professions without knowing exactly where we are going. I started first. My first degree is in forest resources management, not forestry per se. And it came at a time when there is the beginning of an awareness that we have invested that about 150 years, our colonial masters only came to let us know extractive forestry, a forestry that make it meaning to them to extract the resources and living what they do there for the people. But forestry for us, Africa, indeed, is not about resources per se. It's about living with what is there. And then there was a transition at that time from extractive forestry to environmental forestry. And then that's what we get to know, that forestry must change. If that was back in 1978 when I graduated. If we in Nigeria, in particular in Africa, want anything left, because some of the precious species has been removed. Ebony is gone. All your pianos are of ebony that taken from us. The Roku and other things are gone. So then at that time when I finished, I just saw, why you get stuck with extractive forestry? Why not look for a profession that we have the capacity to replace what has been lost? Well, life goes on. So I was in Syracuse, upstate New York. That's where I did my 3-year master's degree in landscape architecture, and then I have a minor in urban design with it. So I came back to Nigeria, practiced for 20 years, about 14 years with the 2 firms of architects, then 6 years with me. And I realized both of the jobs that came to me were jobs like NGO jobs, European Union, WWF, World Wildlife Foundation, another NGOs. Both of the jobs I was doing, their job then was, how do we get people involved to restore what has been taken away in the last 150 years? And I want them excited, restore the water, restore everything. Now, as you do other kind of landscape activity to survive, parks, fabricated play equipment, but that is not it. All right. Then, when I joined the academics, after 20 years of practice, I joined the academics as a lecturer in the Department of Urban and Regional Planning, which suits me better because it's a big scale. It's not a one plot thing, because Nigerian architecture has narrowed themselves to one plot, which is not so. The architect design whole cities outside, and but you have to adjust what is at home. That's what pushed me there. Eventually, I moved from there back to architecture again, department. because we decided to start landscape architecture. That's why I left in the first place. If we do not lead practice to raise a generation of Nigeria that will be teachers someday, because no nation will send people to Africa, and if they do, they will think they just disobediences. So we, one or two people, we will go and start master's degree for landscape is multidisciplinary. All right, it's almost about 12 disciplines that make landscape architecture. All right, architect, planners, anthropologists, archaeologists, historians, ecologists. So it's good. And that's how we but again, it's a little bit difficult to break through in a very rigid system led behind by British system. All right, because at that time there was an issue of neoliberalism brought about by Ronald Reagan and the other lady Tasha. So people don't understand all these global things, how it affects us. But anyway, we were hanging in there. So I was now given the mandate to lead the Society of Nigerian Landscape Architects. When many of the landscape architects that came originally emigrated, saying, no, this profession is too. Some went back to Bahrain after the war in Kuwait. Some went there to go and practice, and no one to treat. And then some went back to America. Some of us said, we're going to go home. We are not living. Because if we leave, who will do it?
Right. And I really want to thank you for not only being part of the brain drain issue of the continent, coming back and being a leader not only on the continent, but obviously on the world stage, which has been recognized here today. And I also wanted to touch on something that you mentioned in your presentation, the fact that you said that on the African continent that there is a big issue of hunger, and that we are hungry despite the fact that I think you said 60% of the arable land in the world is in Africa. And so what words do you have, what wisdom would you like to share with people in terms of moving forward and addressing this issue?
Well, thank you. First of all, landscape architecture is in three strands. It started first as garden design, all right? It's faded away. Then there's landscape design. Then there's landscape planning. And I look at everything. Annually, I'll read the World Bank report. And of course, guys from the West, they have a way of portraying Africa as if we are the wretched of the world, that we're so poor. And all the picture they show is looking at these little children with mucus coming and the mother dying, animals dying. And I just asked myself, why should we die? And I said, well, the only way out is to look for a landscape architecture out of the tree that can make the land productive. Because why should people have land and the land cannot allow them to eat? It's not normal. I know there's the issue of global climate change. I know that. But Negev is a desert in Israel. They made it green. There's a huge desert in China. It's not producing. Saudi Arabia spends so much money and they're still spending, turning the desert and producing. Now, my country has a whole lot of oil money squandered. Why can't it produce? What's the issue? Then I start looking at the tenure system, land tenure system. What can I do? And I know I'm not a politician. And I know there's the issue of mining. By the north, Wagners are here, Chinese are here, Americans are here. All of them, they mine and go away.
It's a new form of colonialism.
It's on.
Yes.
And the crisis in Mali is the crisis of uranium. In Niger. The crisis in Mali is the crisis of cobalt and lithium. Now the crisis in Congo is the crisis of gold, cobalt, lithium. And the crisis that's going to be in Nigeria is going to be the crisis of cobalt, lithium, and California. And this crisis, for them to have it, they are already there. Chinese are here. Let me say that in Nigeria. Wagner is Nigeria. Americans and their surrogates are there. And in a forum, I told them that the crisis at hand that's going to be is the landscape of batteries. I call it landscape of batteries because those are the things they use for AI coming 2025. Lithium, cobalt. Without it, AI is finished.
It's the invisible.
Oh yes, and they're here. And I look at the way where the foreign people, it's so different whether they're Chinese or American, that they will cause confusion locally. The more confused and you fight yourself, the more it's easier for them to. And they are being assisted by less than 5% of who belong to the military allies or the political allies, who, once they get the money, they are ready to sell 95%. They are not hungry. And I said, as a landscape architect, we don't have that money, but we have the knowledge to restore. If we can just continue designing or planning landscape that we will to produce food, if we can if we can accommodate social and environmental forestry in this Sahelian bed for it to produce, if we can allow Kalahari Desert to produce in Namibia, like other people have done it, if we can have landscape that will allow the values and the use to produce, then we'll be able to eat. When we're able to eat, we'll be able to think of aesthetics. And we're able to eat and think, then there's no need people migrating to die in Mediterranean Sea. Because I sat down for 2 years, I took a catalog of people. Which country are they coming from? I feel sad that Nigerians should die. I have them, how they are migrating. Why would somebody die from South Sudan when they have oil and they migrated there? The crisis in Sudan is a crisis, it's a historical crisis. People do not know it. It's about, because the third cataract is where Nubia Empire was. It is now people are fighting about who owns Egypt. It's a complex thing. We're not going to go there. And that's why I said, well, good. If we can do this, and that my thinking, why will the farmers in Nigeria and all over Africa be quarreling with herders? Because of climate change. Who pushed them to the place? Now what can we do to stop that? And we came on first of all with what we call participatory ranching. Then not only that, why will the Maasai, not only there, all over, will now be quarreling with conservation? Why can't we come with another philosophy that now move together? Because in Africa we live on the land, either in Greek or in tourism, we live on what I call ecological enterprises. Why can't we sit down and look at ecological enterprises towards 2050, towards African Agenda 2063? But to do that one, we must generate policy. Because our rulers, who have little respect for 95% of us in Africa, our military allies, our so-called political allies, they have been jaundiced with the West. Then why can't we influence them that, well, this is a policy? Why should you have it?